right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of like do a next step towards proofs. So we're going to kind of just look at some terminology and how to like pick apart our diagrams of triangles, and then we're going to get into some beginning ways of identifying really easily if triangles are congruent or not. So, sometimes we have what we call included angles. And even though we don't necessarily always refer to them as that, they're going to show up a lot in what we're doing. So to just kind of understand what we're talking about. So an included angle is an angle between two sides. So let's kind of we'll draw an example of this out to the side here. So if I have a little triangle and it says like, I know these two sides are congruent, we've got an isosceles triangle, then we have the included angle is the one between them. So this is our included angle. And the sides don't necessarily have to be congruent to each other. That's just an easy way to kind of identify. Just an example there. So then we can also have included sides, and that's when it's a side between two angles. And so in a triangle, if I have two angles, then this is the included side. And we'll just kind of, hold on. Because it's sitting between those two angles, it's locked in between them. So, and it's not that the other two sides aren't technically also between two angles, but I haven't given information about those or that third angle, and so we're only looking at the information given to us to determine what's included and what's not. Okay, one thing that I noticed on the quiz and previous homeworks is kind of it seemed that you guys have forgotten a little bit is naming angles. So before we get to the next thing, all right, so we want to know the included angle by the segments AB and BC. So if I look at, here's AB, so I'm kind of looking at this, so I'm just going to put a little mark. I don't necessarily know they're congruent, but I'm just going to pay attention to them. And then I've got BC. What's the angle that's included in those two sides? ABC, good. So it's that one because it's the one being created by those two sides. So we're going to say angle ABC. All right, I'm going to erase. Oh, come on. No, it won't let me erase that. Oh, I don't know why it does that. Okay, so now for part B, we're going to look at two angles. So we've got angle ADB, so I follow it around. So ADB would be right there. And then DAB, so DAB, follow that around, it creates that one. They're not necessarily congruent. So what's the side in between those? What's the included side? We have to go from angle to angle. 80. Making sure your markings are accurate and your labels, so putting that's a segment, versus angle, things like that, that's important. All right, and then it says in triangle BCD, so we're specifically looking at this triangle over here, BCD. I want to know the angle opposite of BD. Okay, so we've talked about included, now we're going for opposite. So opposite means across, right? Like I am opposite of you guys. So if I want to know the angle, specifically in this triangle, that's opposite the side of BD, what do you guys think that is? BCD. Good, because we're sticking with just this triangle. Because it said to look at that one. And so, yeah, the angle across from that side is C. Good. And so we would say BCD, to be precise. Good. All right. So that's kind of it with some basics. We've got like angles included. Oh, I know it doesn't have anything below. Oh, you're going to write more. See that nice blank space? Stay there. So we've got include sides and opposite things like that. So what this ties into is our first start of what we kind of call our like some of our congruence postulates for triangles. So we're going to call these shortcuts to congruency. So why I'm calling them shortcuts is these are two of the things that like are kind of the bare minimum of what you need to see in order for triangles to be congruent. So just to review, triangles to be congruent, we need to have sides all have to be congruent and angles all have to be congruent. And so what mathematicians did is they were like, all right, well, maybe I don't know every single angle, but I maybe know some angles and some sides. Do I know enough to say that they're congruent based off of the other math that we know? And so they went through and they figured out all these things that were kind of the bare minimum. And so they always end up being three things that you need to know about a triangle. So the first one seems kind of obvious. If we know all three sides are the same, we know that the triangles have to be congruent, right? So we call this side, 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 or SSS for short. And side, side, side tells me that when all corresponding sides are congruent, then the triangles are congruent. So this in like picture form it's a little bit messy, but yeah. So if we know that the ones with the one dash marks correspond to each other and they're the same, then we've got the 2, the 3, those are congruent to each other because the side, side, side. The sides are congruent. The last one for today, we're going to do some more tomorrow, is what we call side angle side. So SAS, side angle side. So when corresponding sides and the included angle are congruent. We'll just keep it a little bit short. Then we know the triangles are congruent. So if I've got a side, an angle, and another side, a side, an angle, and another side, so that angle is included between those two sides. It's being created by the sides. As long as that angle is between those two, I know they're congruent. So I want you to write that down. Then we're going to talk about, like, why is that enough to know? Okay, so let's look at, like, so the side, all three sides being the same. That kind of makes sense that the triangles have to be congruent. But why is just having two sides with an included angle enough? So, I mean, clearly we have two sides, so that's great. But this angle, how does that maybe help predict what that third side's going to be? Will it predict kind of how big that side's going to be?
No.
Maybe.
What side?
So the side opposite of it?
No.
It does,
wait.
actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so think about it for a second. So if we've got, so I've got my hands here. So I've got my two sides, and I have my included angle. Can I ever have anything but the length between my two fingers be what connects them? If that makes any sense? Right, like that angle is determining how wide my hands are. So if I have a smaller one, it can't help but, like, it forces this third side to be what it is. And so that's why that's enough to know that the two triangles are congruent, is because we have two sides, but that included angle forces that third side to be the same, okay, because it's determined. We're not changing what that angle is. All right, so now you can go and flip the page. Let's try some of these. Okay, so we're just going to determine if they're congruent, and if they are, then I want to know why. And the two reasons why that we've done so far are side, 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 and side angle, side. There's some of these that are going to be no, that it doesn't fit one of our things, okay? So looking at A here, are those congruent?
Yes.
Yeah, how come?
Because they're both the same, but just turn around.
Exactly. We got side, 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 right? All three sides are the same, so side, side, side. So for B here, they're trying to trick you a little bit. And what they've done is they put the two triangles together. So what does that tell me about this side? Are they going to be different between the two triangles? No, right? If it's a shared side, it's equal to itself. So that's a good example of, just to throw this out there, the reflexive property. But when you see something like that and they're attached to each other really specifically, you can be like, oh, hey, I know something about that side. That side is the same for each triangle because it's sharing it. So based off of, I have two sides and I have an angle included, it would be side, angle, side, exactly. And so you'll notice that it, like, goes in order of the letters, right? So I have a side, an angle, and a side. And it has to match with the other one. So I go along that side, I've got my angle and my other side. Okay? All right, so if I look at C, there is some implied information that's not drawn in. What am I missing from that drawing? Yeah, and specifically, like, these lines are the same, right? Okay, so I've got that side's the same. Did they give me any other information about any other sides, even though it's like, can I say any other sides are for sure congruent? So is an angle and just one side enough? So you'd say not enough info, or NA, whatever you want to say. Okay. All right, so for part D here, well, we've got some sides that are congruent, which that's good. I don't have anything about the third side, and I don't have anything specifically about angles, but there's something that we know to be true with the angles. Do you guys see something that we know would be congruent? Yeah, kind of. So these lines, when they cross like that, what do they create? Vertical angles. Good. So since we have those vertical angles, now does it fit side, angle, side? So they are not always going to give you everything. It's going to expect you to remember the things like vertical angles, things like the shared sides, to look for to see what it is. Okay. So you have two things. It's only one worksheet, but so one side is just finding opposite things and included things, and the other side is looking for side, angle, side. Okay.